Welcome to the Powerful One podcast with your host, Tommy Parker. This college dropout turned entrepreneur and high performance coach created Powerful One with the mission of sharing the stories of individuals who have divided from conformity and redefined success in their own terms. Join us as we dive into the incredible stories and journeys of becoming truly powerful.
Welcome to the Powerful One podcast. I am your host, Tommy Parker, and today's episode is with special guest Taylor Morgan. But before we get into the episode, I just want to say, if you guys are listening on Apple Podcast, if you could leave us a review, that is what really helps to move the needle in the podcasting industry. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel where we're posting all the video content as well as some clips from the podcast. But now, without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Taylor Morgan. Taylor is a Marine Corps veteran, holistic lifestyle specialist, podcast host, and founder of the Captain's Lifestyle program. He works one-on-one with social entrepreneurs who want to maximize their health, happiness, and productivity so they can fulfill their vision and grow their impact. In this episode, Taylor talks about his time spent in the military, a major injury and a rock-bottom moment in the military, bringing a holistic approach to wellness, his major mindset shift, how to know if you're on the right path. Taylor also talks about the importance of sleep and what it means for holistic wellness. And finally, Taylor talks about his core values and the importance of having core values. So here it is, guys, episode 51 with Taylor Morgan.
Powerful people, what is going on, guys? We are here with another Powerful One podcast, and we are joined by special guest Taylor Morgan. Taylor, what's going on, man?
Tommy, thanks so much for having me. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, man. You're out in beautiful California, man. Born and raised. So how's the weather out there, man?
Oh, man, it's beautiful. It's starting to get sunny, a little overcast in the morning, but that burns off around 9 or 10. And then it's, high 60s, low 70s, perfect beach weather.
Dude, that's what I remember. The one thing about California is that the mornings, it would always start out like dreary and you'd be like, yo, what is going on? And then all of a sudden it's like 10 o'clock hits and magically it just turns beautiful. So it's pretty wild, man. But yeah, brother, so fascinated with your journey, man. And the person who Taylor Morgan is now, I'm so fascinated with the journey behind that, right? And how you got to the spot you're at now, just impacting people on a high level, doing high performance coaching with your podcast, doing all these different things, man, and really bringing so much value to people's lives. And I'm so curious how you really got there. And so, I know from your story, man, being in the military, I would love for you to talk about what inflection point it was in the military where you started to realize maybe that where that dividing moment, right, for you was, where you started to, say to yourself, wow, where I'm at right now or what I'm doing right now is not what I want for my future. And basically you're just deep inflection point, man, of kind of going out that. And we can start, I guess, in the military, if that's a good starting spot for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly where I kind of figured it out. So yeah, like you said, I was in the Marine Corps, served 4 years as a machine gunner. And, I was kind of the typical Marine, would drink every other weekend minimum, always a lot. Like at the time I was like, if you're going to drink, you might as well do it to party, like go all out. So it wasn't like 2 glasses of wine. This was like at least a 6-pack and, we're having fun. And so one night at a party that I went to, I got drunk as usual. And then long story short, I ended up breaking my ankle, just being stupid while I was intoxicated. At the time I was actually what's called crossfaded. So I was high on marijuana while I was drunk. The first time I'd ever done that. And that basically led me to what ultimately ended up happening was I was jumping from rooftop to rooftop of these beach houses, like 2-story beach houses, landing, shingles breaking, everything. I came to a pretty substantial gap. And at this point, I thought I was in a dream, to be quite honest. I thought that this was not real and I was living out a dream that I was having. And I was like, well, I might as well go for it. So I leaped, made it to the other side. But when I landed, it was a loud pop. And that kind of sobered me up. Then I was like, oh man, like this is real life. And I just I didn't think I broke it, but I thought I twisted it or something real bad. And yeah, so because of that, I ended up missing my next deployment in the Marine Corps. And like I said, this was a wake up call because I was stuck in the barracks with nobody else. I was the only one. I was left behind and I couldn't go on deployment with everybody else. And so I was like, man, like, what am I doing with my life? I could either continue down this path that I was on, drinking my sorrows away because I felt bad for myself, playing video games all day, not doing anything productive because I was the only one there. Like, nobody was holding me accountable to anything. I could have done whatever I wanted. Or what I chose to do was to make the most out of every single day. And so I completely did like a 180. I started working out even more. That's the one thing that I had down in the Marine Corps was training. I was going to CrossFit, but sleep was whack. Not only because of the massive amounts of stress I had in the Marine Corps, but also like the crazy wake up times, waking up at 2 a.m. sometimes to go on a 5-mile hike, just crazy things. So my body was breaking down. Nutrition in the Marine Corps or any military for that matter is not the best. You get what you can get at the cafeteria. And so, yeah, I basically started switching everything around, started reading, which I had always despised in high school. I didn't even read a single book. I always hated it. So I picked up reading, started listening to educational podcasts. I even took online college courses, basically diving deep into everything personal development, health, productivity, wellness, all that type of stuff. And kind of during that same time, I also became a CrossFit coach. And so I started coaching CrossFit, super passionate about that. I thought I wanted to become a CrossFit coach in the end. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I thought that was my calling because it's what helped me. It got me in shape. It kind of helped me on this more holistic lifestyle path. And so, yeah, also, I forgot to mention, I also gave up drinking for almost 2 years. I was like, I'm done. Clearly this is not good for me. So I just cut it out. And fast forward a little bit, after the Marine Corps, I ended up being recruited to be the head coach at the biggest CrossFit gym in Saudi Arabia. I took that job over a position that I was offered in the Cayman Islands for coaching. And looking back now, I wish I would have taken the position in the Cayman Islands because, man, it is beautiful there. Beaches were amazing. They even flew me out to test out the gym, see if I liked it. And it was great. No complaints at the gym whatsoever. The only reason I took the job in Saudi Arabia was because they paid me more money. Because at the time, I figured, well, I can suffer for 2 years. It was a 2-year contract in a place that I'm not going to like for more money, because I did it for 4 years in the Marine Corps for shit money. Like the pay is not great in the military. And so that was kind of my thought process, that money could make me happy in the short term. Turns out once I was there, as the adage goes, money does not make you happy. I was not fulfilled there. The culture was almost opposite of how I wanted to live my life. And when I say all this, I'm speaking generally. Of course, there's people there who are outliers who are, trying to do the best they can. But in general, the people there aren't healthy. They smoke. They don't drink. There's no alcohol there. You can get it kind of on the black market, but they smoke. They drink coffee all the way up into the evening, midnight, 2, 3 a.m. They don't care. They go to sleep super late, or technically early in the morning, sleep for a few hours, wake up. Their sleep is messed up. They eat bad food, whole bunch of processed carbohydrates, not good stuff. They don't care about the environment. Multiple occasions I saw people just flick their cigarette butts onto the street. There's overflowing dumpsters everywhere. The streets are filled with trash. It smells like trash. There's stray cats. It was just not the place that I wanted to be. And on top of that, they made me head coach, but they wouldn't let me do my job as head coach. And so I was like, okay, if you guys aren't going to let me do my job, I'm not going to be the face of this gym, because I didn't agree with a lot of things that they were doing. And I wasn't going to go against my personal core values just for the title of head coach. So it was then when I really started thinking, okay, what is it that I want to do? I knew that I didn't want to be an employee anymore. That was kind of out of the question. I wanted to be my own boss, work when I wanted, wherever I wanted. on my own business or my own product. I wanted my work to be directly correlated with my success or lack thereof. If I didn't work, I wouldn't get paid. I would fail. And so I started thinking, like, what can I do? And what came to mind is, at every CrossFit gym that I've coached at, somebody has came up to me and asked me some form of this question. Coach, I've been coming into the gym for so and so long. Why am I not improving? My answer would always be the same. I'd ask them, okay, well, how is your sleep? How is your nutrition? How is your stress levels? And their answer would always be something similar along the lines of, well, sleep hasn't been that great, 7 hours if I'm lucky. My diet is pretty good. And for anybody who says their diet is pretty good, it usually means that it's not. It's not good. And then their stress levels, they're like, yeah, I'm stressed out from work or relationships, whatever it was. And I was like, okay, well, there's your answer. You can't expect to come into the gym for 1 hour a day and have that offset the other 23 hours of your lifestyle. It doesn't work that way, but people think it does. They think that fitness is like the pinnacle of health. And that's true for people who have their sleep dialed in, who have their nutrition dialed in, who are happy with their job, their relationship, all that. And so I was trying to help these people, but they didn't want to listen. They just wanted to come in and get a few tips and tricks on how to work out better. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not making the impact here that I know I can. And I noticed that a lot of people who were asking me those questions were high achievers, meaning people who cared about their performance in whatever they did, their job, the gym, whatever it was. It was the people who basically wanted to succeed in whatever they were doing. And I was like, okay, there was currently no program out there that I knew of that covered all of the bases, because at this point it had been like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years of studying holistic lifestyle. And I was like, okay, there is no program that I know of that has everything in this right order. People are they're kind of grabbing it from here and there, what they hear on podcasts, a book they read, but there was no complete comprehensive package. And so it was the perfect opportunity for me to, one, be my own boss, and two, created a program that, would help people in the way that they needed help. So I created the Captain's Lifestyle program with the 6 pillars of human performance, starting from the most important, ending at the least important. So in order, their mindset and vision. So that includes like brain health, becoming the captain of your own life, being the powerful one, as you like to say. And then from there, we go into sleep. Your sleep's got to be optimized, or else nothing else in your life will be at 100%. And then from there, nutrition, from there, relationships. Relationships are actually way more important than people give them credit for. Then nutrition, then exercise. And then at the very tippy top are these biohacks and supplements and lifestyle optimization techniques. So that is the long story of how I got to where I am today.
Dude, it's so good. I have so many questions, especially on the back half, but I want to touch real quick on the beginning, man. When you broke your ankle and it was that huge point where you had to kind of like make that decision, like you had mentioned, no one was holding you accountable for kind of changing the trajectory of your life. Like you were kind of in that comfortable spot. So what was it about your mindset that made you shift, right? You had like no one pushing you to do it. Be like, hey, Taylor, bro, you got to stop, messing up, man. Like you said, you had no accountability. So what was the real mindset? I'm so curious, like your mindset at the time to really use that inflection point to make you instead of break you, as many people do with that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I have always been a high achiever, like I mentioned, somebody who wants to succeed at whatever they do. But the problem was that I was always just skating by. In school, for example, I would always do the bare minimum to get by with whatever was acceptable. Up until my junior year of high school, I was a good student. I would get A's and B's, elementary school. I was always, on the A honor roll, whatever it was. And then middle school, similar thing, probably nothing lower than a C, maybe in math. But then in high school, same thing up until junior year, I was just skating by because the school system, I know now, is so flawed. Like they don't care if you actually learn anything. They just want you to memorize stuff and get things right on the test. As from our last podcast, I remember we talked about that. So yeah, I was gaming the system to give them and my parents what they wanted, because I noticed that I would get rewarded for good grades. And for me, that was easy. For me, I would find ways to get it done, whether it was cheating on my friends or, just studying the night before, and I could just kind of get the information, just memorize what they wanted for the test. And, similar thing for baseball. I hate to say it, but I loved baseball. I wanted to become a professional baseball player at one point, even though that was never a real option because I never put that much effort into it. Because my dad was a professional baseball player, I kind of just, unfortunately, just kind of skated by, kind of doing the bare minimum, not really giving it my full effort. Same thing in the Marine Corps. I always got my job done. I was very good at my job, but I was not optimized in any way, shape, or form. I could always get the job done, but that kind of came at the expense of my own personal health and happiness. And so when I broke my ankle, that kind of switched something. I was like, okay, I can no longer just skate through life doing the bare minimum to get by. I want to now thrive. Before, I've been surviving, doing not the best that I could, but I was always above average. I was always make sure that I was above what I considered to be average. And now the breaking of the ankle happened, and I had already kind of started listening to a few, motivational and holistic podcasts. I was like, okay, now it's actually time to put this into action. And yeah, that was basically my mindset is I'm done just surviving. I'm ready to be the best version of myself because I don't want to continue down that path that I was on. And I basically just made the decision to, like I said, just completely cut out alcohol. I just gave it up. There was no, I don't know. For me, when I make a decision, I make it and I stick to that. And so that's kind of what my mindset was behind that.
Yeah, man. No, that's really good, man. I'm curious, when you thought that CrossFit was your thing, and what was the real thing? Because I've struggled with that too, where I thought, that teaching martial arts, and I thought that you doing fitness and fitness stuff was the right path, which I've since realized wasn't for me personally. But what was the real thing that kind of helped you realize that wasn't the path and it was something so much more? And then after that, man, I want to get into in a little while here, the way you go about it so holistically. I really want to get into that. But first, I'm just curious, how did you distinctify from what you really wanted versus what you thought you wanted, where it was just a CrossFit coach?
First off, distinctify. Is that a word?
It is now.
Distinctify. Love it. But yeah, to answer your question, it was the people who would always come up to me and ask me why they're not getting better. And I would tell them, you need to sleep more. If you are working out this intense, CrossFit can be intense. If you're working out and you're sleeping less than 7 hours a day, you're probably actually making yourself weaker because, most people think the gains are made in the gym. Some, woke trainers, quote unquote, think that the gains are made in the kitchen. Well, I'm here to tell you that the gains are actually made when you're sleeping, when you recover from the workout. Because while you're working out, your muscles are breaking down. You only get better during your sleep because that's, specifically deep sleep when your body repairs itself to be stronger than it was before. And so, like I said, people coming in who weren't sleeping well, weren't eating well, were stressed out from their work, relationships, whatever, they weren't making that progress. And they were thinking that, okay, if I just work out more or implement this little hack or tweak into this workout, then I'll get better. I'll progress. That's only true at the very beginning. Like if you're just getting off the couch and getting started into fitness, yes, you will see progress. But these people had been coming in for years. They had plateaued and now they're wondering why they're not making any more progress. Well, because you tapped out your, fitness level because you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're stressed. And so I wanted to show them that, the real answer is to have everything working together as a whole, this holistic view. You can't have one without the other. So that's what made me shift into what I do now, because I realized the impact I was having was not what I wanted. I wanted to create a bigger impact in these people's lives.
I love that, man. I think that there's something so good about that, right? Like true entrepreneurs or true people are you're solving a problem that's not being solved. And like you said, when you first kind of took the holistic approach, you're like, wait, there's all this stuff missing in all these people's lives. There's this, whether it's the sleep, whether it's the nutrition, and you kind of took the holistic approach. Why? I'm curious, why do you think, because we relate a lot in that, the alignment of all these things that are important, right? Not just the mind, not just the body, not just the sleep, but all of them together. Why is it that you think so many coaches and so many people only focus on one of these things? Like if it's just a nutrition coach or just a sleep coach or just a body, you know, and a personal trainer, why do you think people solely focus on one?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one, maybe just lack of education, maybe because they went the traditional school route and there, you know, they might have been taught, you know, they might have just specialized in that one specific topic, which is not bad. You know, we still need specialists in sleep. We still need, you know, nutritionists, all these fitness coaches. We still need all those experts in their individual fields. But I think they could be doing you a disservice if they don't at least mention sleep, nutrition, lifestyle habits, all that type of stuff. And so I think it might just be lack of education. I don't think anybody's, you know, doing it on purpose. I think once people become aware of it, like myself, I thought fitness was like the answer. Once you start working out, you get better. But then once I realized that that's not the answer, then I started to switch things up and incorporate the more holistic aspect of it.
Yeah, man. And you're so right. Like I found the same thing when I first started in the kind of the nutrition and fitness field. I was like, why is there so much misinformation? Why is there so much kind of like sole focus on this one thing being the end all be all? So what is it about what you do through your programs, through your coaching, that is so unique, and the results that you've gotten, whatever it is, what has been some of the really awesome stuff that you've seen successful from the holistic approach that you have?
Yeah. So specifically, I coach charitable company founders because I believe that they are the future. You know, business and businesses and consumers are becoming more conscious of the effect that they have on the environment. And, you know, I always preach, if you want to run a successful business, you as the CEO have to be optimized. If you're running a business and you're not happy, healthy, or productive, how can you expect your employees to be happy, healthy, and productive? Like it just doesn't work that way. The post I put out on Instagram today, you can't pour from an empty cup. It doesn't work like that. So what I do in my program is I take these company founders, these entrepreneurs, and I run them through the program, you know, the 6 pillars of lifestyle optimization. And everybody's different. You know, somebody might benefit most from the stress reduction module. Somebody might, a lot of people actually, entrepreneurs are, they're known for not getting enough sleep. So a lot of people benefit from the sleep modules. That's huge for a lot of people because once you optimize your sleep, literally every single other thing in your life gets better. Your relationships, your ability to handle stress, your focus, brain fog goes away, all that type of stuff. But I think some of the most transformational results that I've seen came from people who, once they did the first module, because the very first thing we start with is like mindset and developing your mission statement, your core values, and your vision statement, both for yourself and your company. And a lot of the biggest transformations I've seen have came from that. Because like we talked about on our podcast, once you define who you are and what you want to be remembered as, and do the same thing for your business, you know, what you stand for as a business, where you want to go, what you want to achieve. Once you have that end goal in mind, you then work back and implement all these smaller goals to get you to that end goal. Because too many people, you know, entrepreneurs especially, are guilty of this, of just working for money. A lot of people get into entrepreneurship with, you know, the false premise that if you make a lot of money, you'll be happy. And that's just not the case. And that's specifically why I work with charitable company founders who give back in some way, shape, or form, not necessarily with money, but companies who help other people, you know, do something. So that's why I like working with them. So I would say that's kind of the biggest transformation that I've seen, is once the CEOs and the companies become aware of, okay, this is actually my purpose. And then all of a sudden motivation is not an issue because you have this higher purpose that you're working towards. It's no longer about you. Then you know, if you don't show up to work, I say show up figuratively, like show up as your best self, then that's like selfish. You're letting other people down if you don't provide your service to them. Because if you're doing something that the community, the planet, whatever needs, and you don't show up at 100%, like that's kind of selfish. Like you need to be able to show up to give people your service.
That's so good, man. And yeah, we jammed on that hard on your podcast as well. But it's so important, man. It's literally like if you don't have a mission statement, a vision statement, and know what's important to you, it's like to speak in your terminology, it's like a captain of a ship driving the ship without a map, dude. It's literally like you have no direction for where you want to go if you don't have a clear, what do I want to do? What's my vision? What do I want to have? And what do I respect her as? Like, what do people get when I'm in a room? And so I want you to talk about some of those areas, because we relate a lot on that. Like, what are some important core values to you, and what kind of makes Taylor Morgan, and what are some important things in your life that are kind of non-negotiable from an identity standpoint?
Yeah, first off, before I get into my personal core values, I just wanted to say that that's funny that you gave that kind of analogy there, because in my program, I call core values your compass directions, because, it's your compass. You need to know which way you're going, and your core values point you there. And I call your mission statement your treasure map, because if you follow your mission statement, that will lead you to your ultimate treasure, whatever that may be. You get to decide that. So I love that you used that terminology. It's so fitting. So for my personal core values, they're excellence, challenge, inspiration, happiness, and adventure. And it used to be growth instead of adventure, but I revisit them frequently, and I determined that adventure was more important than growth. Not necessarily more important, because I put growth up into excellence, because I believe in order to be excellent, you have to continue to grow. So now that's just kind of combined into one. So just to recap, excellence, challenge, inspiration, happiness, and adventure are my personal core values.
So what do those mean to you? Like, so for people who are listening and they hear those and they don't know what it means. I mean, like, to use another kind of captain and boat analogy, ship analogy, like the way I explain your core values is it's almost like an anchor of who you are. When you're going to get up in the morning, and, one of my core values is discipline, and that alarm hits and I'm about to hit snooze, like all of a sudden that programming, that anchor, that emotional anchor comes to me, and it says, no, you're a man of discipline. And so you wake up on time. So what does it mean to you? And how is some ways that your core values have play out day to day and fuel yourself and also your company?
Yeah, good question. So for me, that example that you gave, discipline is not specifically one of my core values, but for me, that would fall under either excellence or challenge, because, it's a challenge to be disciplined, to stick to what you say you're going to do. And if you do that and you become disciplined, then that equates to excellence. So for me, it's like all of our core values are probably similar in some way. It's just kind of how we define them. So so for me, I define excellence as paying attention to detail, making little things big things, so not overlooking anything, and focusing on the process. But in the same time, I don't want people to perceive this as, being a perfectionist. By me saying I focus on the little things and I make those big things and I pay attention to details, that doesn't mean that you're a perfectionist. The complete opposite, actually. Perfectionism is horrible. Perfectionism will hold you back from everything you want in life. So I'm always striving for excellence, meaning that I'll put something out, and if I don't like it, I can always go back and revise it if need be. Like my program, for example, I got my first client before I even had anything put on paper. I didn't have a program. I got my first client. I was like, okay, people want this. And then I worked on building it. I put out the minimum viable product. And then, as it's been almost a year and a half now that I've been doing the Captain's Lifestyle program, it's gotten so much, better as the years have gone by, because I'm constantly updating it. If I would have waited to have the perfect program, I wouldn't have any program right now, because I'd still be working on it. So excellence is just working on it. It's focusing on the process, not, the perfect end product, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, man. I really love that. So one of the other things, like as you're saying, excellence, what's so cool about that is, like you said, our core values might be similar, but they mean something different to us. And I think that that's the most important part, is that like it has to mean something to you. Like if I read my purpose statement to somebody, my statement of who I am, it's not going to make sense to people because I wrote it for me. And so I think that's what's really cool about yours, is excellence is a very specific word that you have your very specific definition for. So man, if you don't mind, just get into some of those other core values and how they're applied in your life and what they are.
Yeah, for sure. So next up, we have challenge. I love challenge because I believe that is how you succeed. Like you have to face challenge in order to grow and improve. So I define challenge as turning obstacles into opportunities. So any obstacle that comes my way, I don't see that as an obstacle. I see it as an opportunity to get better. And that mindset, I would say for me, my mindset is by far my strongest asset, because I am so confident that no matter what happens, I will be okay. There's a phrase that I say that everything always works out for me. And that's not me being cocky. That's me knowing full well that I can handle whatever, no matter what it is. And that doesn't mean that I'll always succeed or I'll always, win or be right. That just means that I'm capable in my abilities to, if I do win, great. Or if I don't, if I fail, I will learn from that experience and tweak something and implement and just keep trying again. So that's part of challenge. And then also I constantly seek out difficult or scary opportunities. So for example, like skydiving. I went skydiving a year and a half ago, probably, or 2 years ago. And I bought the tickets because I was scared of heights. I was like, okay, I'm scared of this. That means I need to go do it. The cold shower or the ice bath example that we mentioned on my podcast, if you're scared of cold water, if you don't want to get up in the morning and take a cold shower, that is exactly why you need to go do that, because your resistance to something is exactly where the growth is. So that's probably the thing you need to do most.
That's so good.
And then lastly is I don't complain when things get hard. And, this is big because, things are going to get hard, and it does nobody any good if you complain about whatever situation you're in. So, people sometimes say like, how are you so positive all the time? Or like, and not that I'm positive all the time, but I've heard this phrase like toxic positivity. And I don't necessarily know like what that is, because like, why would you choose to focus on the negative side of things? Like this whole lockdown thing, most people have chosen to focus on the negative side of things. Oh, we're in lockdown. I can't see my friends. The gyms are closed. My favorite restaurant is closed. Almost nobody is talking about the positive things. Like the gym is closed. So what? You still have your body. You can move your body. I interviewed a guy on my podcast, Ryan Hudson Peralta, one of the most inspirational dudes that I've ever met. He has no arms, no legs, and he still works out. So if somebody with no arms, no legs doesn't have an excuse to not work out, neither do you. You can make it happen. The excuse that you don't have time or the equipment, that's all BS. You can make it happen if you want to. For the restaurant thing, maybe you can use this as an opportunity to, learn to cook for yourself, to cook a healthier diet. Like there's so many positives in every single negative. And that's, kind of how I implement that into challenges, turning those negatives into positive experiences. You can always take something out of what happened. And then, like I mentioned, growth, I kind of moved that up into excellence. So I'll just kind of briefly cover growth. I turned failures into learning experiences. So kind of similar to challenge. I seek first to understand, meaning, well, this we can kind of go into a rabbit hole, but I'll keep it quick. If you want to grow as an individual, you can't just, preach to people. You have to understand where they're coming from in order for them to want to receive the information. I learned this the hard way because I'm a very matter of fact, to the point person. And I learned this while coaching CrossFit. Not a lot of people respond to that. They want to be told a different way. And so I had to figure out, like, to understand where they're coming from, to say it in a way that they will actually benefit from it and take away my message. And so that goes into communication, which is a huge deal. And then I ask questions and ask for help, because part of growth, you can't do it on your own. It's just impossible. So learn to ask for help when you need it in whatever area you're struggling with. And then inspiration, I lead by example. I spread kindness and positivity, and I listen with empathy. And yeah, I feel like if I can inspire people to go down the holistic lifestyle path to be the captain of their own lives, then I'll have been doing my job. Because ultimately, my goal is to make the world a better place. And that starts by first optimizing myself, which I am constantly in the process of doing. And then once I, am optimizing myself, I can then pour into other people's cups and help them optimize themselves, and so on and so forth. And I believe that that is the way that we're going to change the world and make it a better place to live. So inspiration, that's why is one of my core values. And then happiness, I am grateful. I practice gratitude. That is huge. And then just putting things into perspective, understanding that billions of people in the world have it worse than you. And just always looking at the positive side of things, like I mentioned for challenge, just understanding that for, whatever you have, somebody doesn't have that thing and would kill to get that thing. So in modern society, and specifically Western culture, like we're always striving to get more and more and more, the next newest thing, the iPhone, the new shoes, the new car, whatever it is. And if you place your happiness on these material, external objects, you will constantly be chasing that. It's just like a hamster wheel, constantly trying to get to the next thing. And that's why so many people are depressed. That's, one of the reasons why so many people are depressed is because they don't have perspective for just being alive. Like the thing Gary Vee says is, it's like I forget the specific number, but like a 1 in trillion chance that you're even born a human being. Like, just be so grateful for the fact that you're alive. It's like, once you shift that into that gratitude mindset, it's so powerful. And then, so yeah, keep things in perspective. I prioritize myself. And I know that some people might think that's selfish, but like I've been saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So I am first and foremost, my priority. I make sure that I am happy, healthy, and productive so I can help other people. It's not just so I can live my best life and, F everybody else. No,
Right.
The better off I am, the better capable I am to help other people. So that's what I mean by prioritizing myself. And then I also make sure that I do work that is fulfilling and helps other people. So that all goes into happiness. And then adventure. So I'm spontaneous and my work allows this. I like being able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, which is why I love my quote unquote job, because that allows me to do that, the freedom. I appreciate and immerse myself in nature. Too many people don't appreciate nature. Just go outside. Like we were both doing today, getting some sun.
Yeah.
Sunshine is so important for so many reasons. And there's a reason why, forest bathing is so popular. It's just people feel better when they go into nature. It's just a proven fact. And then lastly, one of my favorite quotes is, I jump and grow wings on the way down. So adventure, like I'm the type of person who does not get security or comfort from knowing what's going to happen. I like jumping into new things and just seeing where things go because I like figuring things out, hence the adventure. So those are my core values and how I define all those.
Wow. And I love how they're not just words. I mean, like, as you guys could hear, I mean, Taylor's got, a sentences to go with them, and then what that means to him on a personal level. So, that's like I was saying, man, that's why it's so important to have it so unique to you. Because if it doesn't move you, and if you don't have it in solid ground, like I always say, go back and refine it and make sure it's tested and it's solid concrete, because it's your operating system, man. So I love that you have that. And, touching on your first word, excellence, a lot of Powerful One is about redefining success in your own terms and how you can define success by truly what you want, not paper success, not by money. I mean, like we talked about earlier, you thought originally when you took that job, because you took it for money, you thought that money was the driving factor. So I'm curious, man, what your definition of success is and how you've applied that into your life.
Yeah. So first off, I really like your definition of success, and I think I should, find some way to weave that into mine. But yours is being who you want to be, doing what you want to do, and having what you want to have. And that's basically mine, just kind of phrased a little bit differently. So my definition that I came up with is happiness plus excellence equals success. So excellence, we kind of already defined that. Constantly, growing, constantly striving to improve things in every area of your life, making sure that you're helping people. Because again, I don't believe that you can have success just for yourself. I believe that once you optimize yourself, like I said, then start improving other people's lives. So all of that goes into excellence. And then happiness, enjoying the process of what you do, because you could be like somebody could be doing what we do right now. We are helping other people grow and succeed, but if they're not happy doing what we do, then that's not really success for them. They have to find out what works for them. So it's the combination of being happy with what you're doing and doing work that benefits you and other people is my definition of success. And usually when you do that, the money and, all these other cliche, definitions of success, status symbols, whatever, can come with that once you help yourself, help other people, and are happy in the process. It's not about the highest paying job.
That's so good, man. I guess what is the best part about, because you said quote unquote work. So what's the best part about the work that you do? And I guess the most fulfilling thing to be able to have something that you love, but also be able to pour into other people and help them achieve a level of success and optimization.
Yeah. So I have never been more fulfilled in my life. I absolutely love what I do, because not that I am, where I want to be, or, this optimal human being, like not even close. I'm constantly striving to get to the next level, but I'm happy where I am now. I'll be happy with where I am later. I drive pleasure from the process of improving. So that's what I love doing. And once I've accomplished that, now I can help other people do the same thing. I want other people to experience the feeling of being the captain of your own life, as I call it, which is basically, being in 100% control of everything in your life. And that a lot of that comes back to mindset, just the understanding of, like what I said, everything will always work out for you. If that is your mantra, everything always works out for me. You get in a car crash, doesn't matter. Everything always works out for me. I'll figure it out. Another one that I like is I can't lose. So I cannot lose. I will not let myself lose. That doesn't mean that I don't fail or I don't, not everything I do is perfect, but that means that because I don't lose, I learn from those quote unquote failures and I implement and continue going. And so back to your question of what excites me is the impact that I'm getting, or the impact that I'm having on my clients' lives. Some of the testimonials I've gotten are just, way more than I had ever even expected getting into this. Just being able to transform, literally almost like a 180 shift, getting to be a part of that in someone's life is just, it's the best feeling. And a lot of times my clients, yes, I bring my clients success and happiness, but one of the cool things is a lot of times they get their family in on it, for example, or the people around them. So one of the things I advertise is like, not only do you get better, but once you get better, the people around you also get better. So like I've had a client's mom who has saw him during the nutrition part of the program. And she was like, hey, that looks good. Like, what are you making? This and that. And then they ended up going on morning walks together, coming back and cooking a healthy breakfast, stretching together. And she lost 8 pounds in 2 weeks. And it's just amazing that I get to not only help my client, but also the people around them. And I'm also excited because the more people that I work with, I believe the better the world will be. And that might sound cocky, but I really, truly believe that once you optimize yourself, you're better off for everybody. You make everybody else around you better. And that's why I work with charitable company founders, because charitable companies who give back to the population, to the environment, they are what's going to drive the world forward. Companies who care about themselves, their employees, and their impact on the planet, that is the future. I don't believe that a company will be successful in the future if they don't care about all three of those things. It has to all be connected, because us as consumers are starting to be more conscious of, the the direction of where we're taking ourselves and the planet. Like, we are not living sustainably the way things currently are. Like, something has to change. And I just love that I'm able to be a part of that.
Well, it's so cool, man. It's so beautiful because it's such a domino effect. Like you said, like you're changing somebody else's life, which is indirectly or directly, changing somebody else's. And so it's really cool, man. I'm such a believer in the work that you're doing and who you are. And before I ask my last question, man, where can people find you if they want to, dive into your coaching services, if they want to just get to know you, follow you, and be inspired by you? Where can people tune into you, man?
Yeah, basically the Captain's Lifestyle anywhere. thecaptainslifestyle.com. It's my website. The Captain's Lifestyle Podcast. They can hear the episode where I interviewed you a couple weeks ago. That was fire. I've gotten a lot of comments on that. The Captain's Lifestyle on Instagram. So yeah, that's where you can find me. The Captain's Lifestyle. Just search it.
Yeah, and you guys can find his podcast anywhere that you're listening to this, including the video version on YouTube. So Taylor, man, I want to ask my last question. When you were in the military and you had that ankle injury, that was your moment of getting unstuck, as I like to call it. And as I've had my moment of kind of dividing from conformity, getting unstuck, however you want to call it, man, what advice could you give to the listeners to, if they're at a spot right now where they feel stuck, what was your biggest impact to help you get unstuck that you could just leave as a piece of value for the listeners, man?
Make a decision. Everything always gets better once you make a decision. The problem and the anxiety and the stress comes from, am I going to do this? Like, can I really commit to that? It's like, whatever you choose, it doesn't really matter. What matters is making the decision. The worst decision is indecision, when you just kind of go back and forth and you prolong the inevitable. Like, if you want to work out, for example, commit to it or don't commit to it. If you do commit to it, you'll have a better feeling of, improving your body, whatever. If you don't commit to it, you'll release that stress of, oh man, I should be working out, and making yourself guilty. It's like, and then you can revisit it later on down the line. But my recommendation would be to just choose yes or no. No more maybe, no more, yeah, I might go work out. It's like, no, I will go work out, or I won't go work out. And most of the time, if you say I won't go work out, you're probably not going to like that answer, and you probably will go work out. So, if you say, yeah, I might go work out, chances are you're probably not going to. So yes or no, make that decision.
That's so good, man. And it goes along with that quote. And I don't know if that's your quote or if it's your favorite quote, but the one where it's, what is it? Jump and grow wings on the way.
Yeah. Jump and grow wings on the way down.
That's so good, man. It's just like, do it, take the action, make a yes or no, and figure out the rest on the way, man. I absolutely love that, Taylor. Well, guys, go check Taylor out. I'm going to link all of his stuff below. Taylor, I appreciate you being on here, man. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for not only coming on my podcast, but giving me the opportunity to come on your podcast. We're both in very similar lines of work, and I love everything you're doing with Powerful One. And I'm excited to see where things go.
Yeah, brother, I received that, man. I'm excited to watch you grow and be part of your journey as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. Taylor, thank you for being on the Powerful One podcast. Thank you guys. Stay powerful.
Thank you guys so much for making it to the end. I really appreciate your support, not only for me, not only for Powerful One, but also all the guests on this platform, and just tuning in and being inspired and being powerful, man. So, thank you again if you watch this, and, excited for the future. Excited. It's been a great year for Powerful One. Excited for everything I have coming in the future, everything with the brand, everything with my personal brand, and just everything in general. So just want to thank you guys again, and be sure to, share this if it inspired you, if it felt powerful, if you connected with it, share it with your friends, share the platform. Please go, if you don't mind, go subscribe on YouTube. Go write a review on iTunes. All that stuff really means a lot. Thank you guys again, and be sure to stay tuned, because every week we are coming out with a new podcast episode. Stay locked into the page, guys. Thank you. Stay powerful.